Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being with us tonight. We have with us one of the elders of the Spirit of Love Catholic community. Everybody, let's all welcome Tita Evelyn Oda.
A pleasant good evening to all of us, especially the members of our community, the Spirit of Love, Baguio City. And it's a long time since I had been joining, just being because we are seniors. So not allowed to get out most of the time. And also some things that we have to attend to. But in spirit and in all the activities, even sometimes I'm late, I go over all the recorded tapes or live streams that we see with the Zoom and with our, how do we call that, network or website now. So good evening again.
Tita Ebot, could you tell us how you started out in our community?
Yeah, that was way back 1992. I was a member of class number 3. I think that was together with the parents of Jonathan. And Jonathan was already there as the head of the music ministry. And that is one of the things that made me curious, because they were very angelic in the way they were singing. The gathering used to be in R400, and being a faculty of the School of Natural Science now, or before College of Natural Sciences, I would hear them before the prayer meetings, and I said, what is that all about? I was thinking the songs like those are supposed to be in the chapel. So that was the first time my curiosity started to arouse me. But then as far as how and who, Ate Malu was then our head secretary of the school. And when we go to the office, she would tell us, come and join and see what we have to offer you. But I took it just slightly and said, okay. But of course, in my heart, there was a doubt, what is that I will join? No? And then, class 2, I was supposed to go. That was still in 1992. But the storm came and I was so wet, still in the road, going to LSS2. So I went back home because I was really very wet up to my half body already. It was really blowing hard. And then I was still in Marcos Highway, Teachers Village. So you have to walk the mountain because there were no roads yet. So I started to fear because it was getting stronger and stronger. So after LSS2, Nadi Lam, my best friend, my co-teacher, was already a member of class 2. And she was so excited Monday after in our faculty room because we share the same. And I thought, what is this girl excited about? And she would say, oh, it is so amazing. It is so exciting, but more so, I think God is speaking to me. And so with the scientific mind, I started to say, ano? God, kausap mo. And then she was just saying, yeah, you better come and attend. Okay? So after 2 months, the LSS3 was already scheduled. So sabi ko, tignan ko kung ano kaka-excite. So ganon ang because pagka scientific yung mind mo, cause and effect ka mag-isip. So yun yung ano ba ang pinaka-exciting. So that was the time I really went, okay, I'm going to attend it. And so I attended class 3. So I saw, wow, ang dami ring tao. The R400 was, for LSS, we would conduct it in the building of medicine. So the higher one, where you have that profile of parang a theater. So then, I stopped, I think, halfway, and then started to see people. So when the LSS started to begin, it started to hit me left and right of being, a sinner then. And I said, I think somebody else is giving some things, a feedback. But I said, how could that be when the speaker comes from Manila? So anyway, I started to really listen and listen well. So that's how I started.
What were your memorable experiences in our community?
Oh, wow. From the time that I had the rekindling, which you call it now, of the Holy Spirit, that was really an experience that I cannot explain scientifically. I am a person who would say mind over matter. But then, during that time, when I said surrender everything, and my muscles started to weaken, then there was something like buckling down, and I couldn't even control. No? I have a very good control of my muscles, of my locomotion, and the like. So when I was already facing the person who would magbibigay ng anointing, talagang ibang klase. And I couldn't explain it because I was lame. And when I was lame, really my mind was still working discantly. But it really took me a while, maybe more than 5 minutes lying down, not being able to move any part of my body. Kaya sabi ko, naku, ayan na siguro ang sinasabi nilang action of the Spirit. Kasi talaga yung muscle ko, wala hindi ko maggalaw. And the certain, parang, the sensation that I felt is, it was a very cold sensation all over my body. Parang, ito, hindi naman malabig dito sa loob ng building where the LSS was being held. And so, anyway, after that, Reviver started to bring us back to our seats. And still, I was wondering, what is that all about? Saan yun sa science ko? So sabi ko, I think I'm going to ask forgiveness. And so I started asking for forgiveness. And then came a second sensation about parang when I was saying, forgive me, Lord, for whatever I've done that is not fit into your plans. I started sobbing for a while. Sabi ko, naman ito, nakakaya. Teacher ako. Nag-usap ako. But the facilitator is saying, let it go. So, I let it go. So, that was the first experience that made me say, what is it that I am heading for? Then, after that, we had retreats because we were still building members. The first retreat that I attended was in Mount Carmel. This was a retreat house, a beautiful house, and Father Mark Villanueva. He is one of the figures that really inspired me too. And during that time, it was supposed to be Pentecost the following morning. But the evening where we were all there, community members, the original and yung mga old, and lahat kami would be sharing like what we do when we have our retreats now. But the sharing was so rich that even to our heart, siguro, from the deep one, I could see it was something truthful. There is no plasticity. Merong iiyak, hindi namin minamay. But the messages that were coming in were really something. And that kept me wondering again, bakit ganito Lord? At bakit ngayon lang ang ganitong experience? Because at the back of it, I was already getting tired of attending mass, tapos parang obligatory na lang ba? And during that time, everything started to have a meaning. They became more meaningful, and that was something that already was getting deeper and deeper in my systems. Sabi ko, okay. So that was one of the memorable experience. And then we woke up at about 4 a.m. to meet the Pentecost in the external part kasi parang plain field yan. So when we were trying to prepare for the Mass, imagine the sky, particularly yung clouds, formed differently as if it was something like a bird hovering on us. So again, I was surprised. And we said, ito talaga. Clouds yun, And if you can just picture nung parating na yung sunset to the clouds, oh my God. It was really a picturesque view na hindi ko nakita all my life. So sabi ko, maybe the Lord is telling me, are you not yet trusting me? So, yun yung talagang pinaka-memorable na experiences that I've had during the first years. And then,
wala kayong camera nun, no? Walang camera para ma-picturean.
O kaya cellphone lang sana para ma-capture lang. Hindi pa kami ng cellphone noon. If there was, I'm sure we would be taking all pictures. No? So, ganun yung experience na it really was trying to maybe pound in me. I'm here. The Lord was already listening. This is me. Siguro ganun yun, no? But anyhow, after so we were to enrich our LSS and we would have growth seminars. So they deepened, for example, ano ang mga nafe-feel namin, because we would really start asking, what is that? And spiritual gifts, the Holy Spirit. So they told us one of the gifts that you would need is the gift of tongues. And they would manifest it during our time. And I said, what's that? They're bubbling, iba-ibang languages. And after that, it was very light. To me, praising na pala yun. So, when I heard them, and I said, they say it's a delightful feeling. So again, I desired that. Talagang as in desire. Sige nga Lord, para ma-open yung mga other gifts. So I desired it. Believe it or not, my first tongues was at home. I was just cooking. But I was praising. So I praised and praised, and then there came the tongue, and I cannot again control my tongue. Sabi ko, meron pala. And at the end of it, it was a very light feeling, as if naangat yata sa clouds ang feeling ko noon. And so I started to say, again, sorry Lord, for my doubts. I may be the Thomas. But I think with 2 answered questions, in my mind lang yan, hindi ko inaano, abay, they were all answered. So I thought, wow, totoo pala. Even what is in your mind, He knows. So yun na. And I started to become a regular member. Mm-hmm.
Tita, were you part of any ministry in our community?
Oh, yes. I first started as a prayer ministry leader. Okay. And during those times, nangangapa pa kami. Ano ba ang gagawin natin? But at the same time, we were also to lead prayer and worship activities. Sabi ko, paano kaya ito? Wala naman ako. I was not yet reading about our charismatic groups rin. No? So, Ate Malu would say, let's go and observe some of the communities. So, talagang pupunta kami, mag-observe, ay, talaga palang ganun. But, yung sustained, for example, praise and worship, hindi pa kasi kami masyadong trained on. But, what did a sustaining of our prayer activities was the very, very angelic na music ministry. And at the end of prayer activity that we would lead in the community, we all feel so light. We all feel a different thing, like you're releasing a very heavy load after your week-long task. I mean, being a teacher, mabigat yun. Being a mother, mabigat. Pero pagka galing na kami sa prayer meeting, iba talaga yung burden na parang natatanggal despite still being there. So I said, oh, something good. So I started again to ask, couldn't we have it more often? But then we only had it Saturdays before. And of course, that made us sustain in the community. Then I also belonged to, after a long time, because the prayer is also intercessory in nature, when we go and pray for some people who are sick, they would tag us along. So automatically, healing and prayer ministry were together. And yeah, kami yung taga-pray. Si Ma'am Lucy naman noon ang head ng healing ministry. Siya naman yung mag-a-anoint sa sick. And it even became very, anyone would request, we go at our free period. And I said, wow, deepening na ito. And then, toward the last, because the last one that I joined in, supposedly assigned, was teaching. But the teaching ministry was Sir Gonzaga's headship before. Sabi ko, I could not commit there because in terms of my background, scientific na ako, di naman ako masyadong nagpapasa na ating mga libro pa noon. I saw Sir Tommy. When we would meet together, member din siya ng prayer ministry. And we would be sharing ang deep ng mga insights niya. So, I found out later, pala siya, ex-man. And anyway, I started to really deepen, especially on the precepts. Kaya, yun ang nag-sustain sa amin. Oo. So, 3 ministries. Again, when Kuya says, would also be needing help, we would also help in the physical arrangement ba yun, physical ministry, to put the chairs, to, at the end of the activity, help in cleaning up. And I think it's still our sustained work until now. So, by doing the setting up of what? The very strong prayer, or before any activity, after any activity, and the effect of which, or should I say the grace that we receive after is very, very reawakened feeling. I don't know if the term reawaken is okay, pero talagang iba. So, ganon. I was almost there in the ministries. And then, there was a time that the music ministry group, and we call them Ministry 1, Music Ministry 1, medyo very busy na rin yung mga nag-graduate na kami na trabaho na. So we started also to form Music Ministry. Gusto lang na ma-challenge yung mga sarili. But This was made possible because yung mga medyo nakatanda na kagaya namin, like the Acostas, the Gonzagas, the Saltings, me and I still had one daughter before Carmi would join in the two. So parang Don would come and train us with his guitar kasi yun yung tulang namin. Although I also started playing guitar until the husband of Rose, one of our members, came in knowing how to play the guitar. And we started to play it. So, but for a while, we were there until I think I had to go back to finish my studies. And so I begged off. Medyo nabuwag yata yung MM2 kasi ngayon. So, halos na yata. But it was really fulfilling in many ways. I remembered Sunny. Apelyado, he was a seminarian and then eventually became a priest. Yeah, I think he continued in abroad, I think US, who was also training us in singing. He's very good in training us in music ministry too. But when he left for the States, so yun din yung isang reason, wala na kami lead. Okay. Dami, no?
Dami. But you've been through all.
Yeah.
All the ministries.
True.
Except food. Food ministry.
Syempre, nandun yun. Pero ang ministry noon would be taken care of by Heidi, Abara. Kasi sila yung mga nasa office noon. Before nakaprepare na yan. Si Ate Mando, alam mo naman si Ate Mando, talagang she'll see to it. Everything is ready. So sila noon, mag-distribute na lang, paglabas na. Or they would bring in the food for our socialization. So yun. Okay.
Tita, was there anybody in the community who may have impacted your life?
Oh, almost all the members would be even people that I'm not familiar with in name, no? Pag nakikita ko sa yung bata niya, ang galing sumayaw. No? Uy, ito parang with all the expressions, ganun. So, I might not really know their names, but for the people that I could identify, of course, it started to dawn on me na si Ate Malu is really a presider and deserved to be a good leader. So, siya yung una na, wow, because even in our work, she's very organized. And so, that carried through in our community. But what I saw further was that she was very empathic in the members' life. So, siya yung isa. Of course, yung best friend ko, kasi yun, reader of all books around charismatic, Sunadi, and she would tell, I read this one, and she would already start sharing. And there was another one that is Dr. Mari Mandlikudini, who left for Canada too. She also was a very prayerful person that I see in her something like, gift of prayer. Then I also see that all the priests who were involved in the community are people who impacted, because I was saying Father Brackman for allowing our gatherings. Without it, saan kami pupunta noon? It was a difficult time kasi medyo controversial ang charismatic. Okay.
Father
Andres, no way. He was the parish priest before who allowed us to have part of the parish, and yun yung recognition that we are a campus ministry. Then, Father Chris Draculan, who was a very charismatic person in the way he officiates Mass and he was able to draw youth. And not only in our community, but also in the parish. So I said, wow. After some time, he was a very good person to talk to. So he became my spiritual counselor, so to speak. And he tells me, ay naman, you should be very thankful, something like that, and then give me insights. No? Because, yung sabi ko nga, if we were to look at our work before, talagang very tough. But yet, we were able to find solace in our gatherings. And then, Father Mark Villanueva, wow. The first time that I saw him again in an LSS, I think that was also our class 3. We were both in the same class, but they were to officiate the Mass, the chapel, the original chapel. And Father Bobby was our visiting priest, charismatically. And they were in the sanctuary. Talagang maslain siya. Talagang bumagsak. We were all worried that baka nabag or whatever. Only to find out he was all right. And even Father Dan said, let him rest in the spirit. And so I said, wow, it was something. And I think that connected or that made a link among all of us. Talaga ba lang pwedeng, maslay in a way? So, with all of those, they really impacted like, wow, so this is really true. And from there on, we started to really be very conscientious in our prayer meetings. So, yun yung mga nag-impact. But later, I would also start to invite people. In fact, narinig ko nga si Belay, sabi niya siya yung nag-invite sa family. Magkaka-co-faculty kami ni Sir Bagsaga noon. I was also inviting them. And knowing him, who is very philosophical by mind, I had to do that week after week before the LSS. And we would just smile and say, okay. Alam mo yung expression na gano'n na parang, ano ba to, yung okay ba niya? Oo, hindi. Basta okay. And then when they were there in the LSS, I said, I thank you, Lord, answered prayer in my mind. And then in the later LSS, I started to see very, very faithful people, so that I cannot even match their being in the community. And these are my students. Dr. Ruel and Dr. Lisa are the ones also there. And then I said, wow, the community is starting to be filled up with teachers, doctors, nurses, and all sorts. And I was saying, maybe the Lord is completing all what He needs to serve. That was how I had it in my mind. And now that you're an attorney, I said, wow, again, there must be a reason for all of this. So, all of you, impact whenever I think community. Of course, hanggang ngayon, mas hindi natin nakikita si Tita Malu. Yung kanyang persistence, Ebot, prayer meeting natin niya. That was also a very good thing. So, real people in our community. Walang plastikan, although there were times before that we were on different paths, yun pala pwede kaming ma-unify sa prayer. Okay.
Tita, we've been on lockdown for a couple of months now, since March. Could you tell us how you cope with the situation?
Yeah. At first, I thought it will just take a month And so I said, this is good. We can rest, we can sleep until what time we like. But when it started to prolong, I started to say, hey, this is something different. But maybe because of our already a little strong faith built by our community gatherings, yung ating mga socialization with each other, I feel na hindi lang ako ang nasa pandemya, na nandoon tayong lahat. But more so because of yung ating mga speakers who talk to us and saying, God knows everything. Or He is omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient. So, putting that into my mind, I would say, I know this will be over when God thinks it should be. So, I had that at the back of my mind. But human as I am, syempre, yung fear nandoon. Kasi, imagine, going to market with fear, right? To the point that we have to order from neighbors who would come and say, ano pong order niyo for food? So we just will wait. But maganda to, hindi na tayo lalabas. Something like that. But when you needed something else more than what they deliver, and you start saying, how do I get to this now? So, yun namang mga, what do you call this, delivery, bicycles and so on, and online, and you try to test. Totoo ba ito? Food to be delivered. Totoo ba ito? Vegetables to be delivered. Sige, order mo. And they all came in. At least na-ease out yung fear na hindi pala mawawalan yung needs, especially essential needs, because we survive as a family, no? So, that was what made me stand firm. But I had, and maybe God was also talking to me, I'd be very honest. Prayer in all our family members had been individual for some time now. And when we were all together, I said, wow, God must be giving us an opportunity to pray in the family. And even my apos, no? I have 8 apos with me, with my 3 kids around. So we would, after eating, that's why sometimes I miss out on the 8 o'clock because yun din yung dapat na, no? So ina-adjust na lang namin. So we would pray together and fervently talaga the rosary, asking, to get all of this pandemic out. But I can only think that maybe it's not your time. Kasi marami pa rin matitigas ang ulo. But yung feeling ko na I was able to bring home again the bonding of the family members, praying faithfully. Nung una, syempre, yung mga apo magulo. But I tolerated it, so to speak. Kasi pagka nagpupray ka, may gagalaw, may tataw, I tolerated it until little by little, ganun pala, 3 months now, we're still praying the rosary. And then, we started to sing the Fatima song. And there's a part there that we say, we pledge our life for those that reach me. Mukhang, I explained that to the kids. Remember, this is a pledge, something you will not pay. And I think it appealed to them. So, we still keep the rosary. And the beauty of it all, it's the 4-year-old youngest apo would say, Mommy, where is everybody that to pray? And I would tell him, go and tell them now, siya na yung taga-announce. And he learned that Fatima song too, and we were all smiling. And every time now, he would say, please give me the Mama Mary song. He calls it Mama Mary song. And he even looked into the video of that movie before. And it's so delightful to feel that I was able, after what, 40 or 60 years of not praying together in the house na gawa yun. So I also feel that was a strength that kept us, kasi maririnig mo sa news, ganito, ganyan. So, we kept on the prayer. Okay, so that was how it sustained me this pandemic. But come what may, I know, sabi nga ni Father Ken, nakita ko yung kanyang we are properties of God, not the exact words, but parang ganun yun, and not the rebel. So he cannot dissuade us from the protection of God. Parang ganun ang nakuha ko doon sa kanyang talk. So I said, tama yan. Okay.
Tita,
Yeah.
could you give our community members a message of hope and encouragement during this time?
Yes. First of all, encouraging has to be done by someone who experiences it. So, one of a very encouraging thought I would say is, if we have fallen short of prayer and still not done it for one reason or the other, trust that prayer really reaches God. Kasi meron sometimes yun sa mga intentions namin, sasabi pa lang, sometimes the answer comes so immediate. But there are those that are going to make you wait for a little while. However, it may not be the prayer answer that is according to what you ask, but an answer that is even far greater than what you expect. So, from the heart, I would tell you, prayer is the best weapon. Then, if there are difficulties in your life, the Lord sees that, even if we don't realize it. So we only have to keep faith that He knows what we need. But in our learning, we say, tell Him during the prayer what you really need specifically, no? And truly, it gets to be again answered. And the third, yeah, we fear because we are human after all. However, lift the fear to God. There is always an assurance that He is not an abandoning God. So bakit tayo nag-fear? So hopefully, with those encouragement, even if we come in some critical difficulties, we only have again to shift our focus not on the difficulty, but on God who knows what it is even before we say it. So medyo, yata yan, from the heart talaga. So, those are my encouraging words so that we do not become discouraged in everything that is happening now, especially this pandemic. And even as a science teacher, I would tell you, really, viruses can mutate in a matter of seconds. And they're saying new strains and whatnot. But then, trusting back that God has done, even during the biblical times that there were plagues, He really gave a comforting solution that He will not abandon. So, God is with us, and we are never abandoned. So, that's my message. Okay, Oscar?
And that wraps up our interview with Tita Ebot. Thank you so much po, Tita, for sharing your Soul CC story with us.
You know, Oscar, I should be the one to thank you for having this kind of prayer meetings, but moreover, for continuing to spread the very nearness to our God. Because without it, I do not know if we will still be having the same positive outlook. We were called at one prophecy the children of light. And when I read about it, I know what He means. That we should not look into the darkness. So, Let's continue to be the children of light as what He had given us as a message in our community way back 1992-93. So good evening to everyone and thank you for listening.
Thank you.